Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So we are active beings constantly making plans for the future. Our thoughts manifest in actions. Repeated actions form habits. Those habits make up our character, and that character determines our destiny. As one famous philosopher said or commented, we are not human beings on a spiritual journey, but rather we are spiritual beings on a human journey. Every journey starts with a step, and in chapter 5, Krishna explains how to take steps in the right direction. There are steps leading to further entanglement in worldly complexities, but there are also steps leading to a life of liberation, freedom, and tranquility. Whatever choices that we made in the past have brought us to the present situation, and whatever we do now will decide our future. Every choice, every action that we engage in can either bind us to the laws of karma or can liberate us. So this chapter is specifically talking about, in continuation to the third chapter, which is also entitled as Karma Yoga, about how while being active in this world, we can remain free from the intricacies of karma or the complexities of this inevitable, powerful law of the universe. So we shall start with chapter number 5 and text number 1 onwards. So this chapter starts with Arjuna's confusion. He says, Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha samshasi yashreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Arjuna said, O Krishna, first of all you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? So essentially, Arjuna is confused by Krishna's equivocal instructions. In the 4th chapter, Krishna said, one must indulge in or engage in sacrifices, which are according to one's prescribed duties in this world, and all these sacrifices culminate in knowledge. And then in the end, Krishna says, now armed with this knowledge, you engage in your work, you fight. So Arjuna is asking, on one side you are asking me to renounce work because ultimately everything culminates in knowledge. But then you are again asking me to work in devotion. So what am I supposed to do? Should I work or should I not? He is thinking that renunciation, that is vairagya, and work in devotion are two mutually exclusive paths. But Krishna is going to clarify his confusion and our confusion as well, because a lot of us might have also had this question that if I take to spiritual life, if I want to be free from any karmic reactions, I must renounce work. So I must give up whatever I am doing. But that's a misconception which Krishna is going to clarify. He says in text 2, Shri Bhagavan uvacha sannyasah karma yogascha niha shreyasa karavabhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. The personality of Godhead said, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Yes, so when somebody is engaged only in material work, for him renunciation is recommended. But since everyone is born with a particular nature, you cannot stop a person from doing something. So therefore it is recommended by Krishna. So you have to eventually engage in some sort of work. So you work in devotional service. Similar principle he explained in the 3rd chapter also. Because this is better than renunciation of work. And he explains the consciousness of such a person. Text 3. Gyeha sa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. So this is how a person is expected to work. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Somebody who is unattached to whatever results comes after doing his best, such a person is always considered to be renounced. That means he is unaffected by whatever good or bad comes after putting in his best effort. So renunciation does not mean detachment from duty, it means detachment from whatever result comes after doing one's best. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. Text 4. Sankhya yogau prithak balah pravadanti na panditah ekamapi astitah samyog ubhayor vindate phalam. Text 5. Yat sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogerapi gamyate ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati na pashyati. Translations. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, that is karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means trying to analyze the difference between the soul and the body, the temporary and the permanent, and trying to understand it, and then ultimately working towards the ultimate goal of life, human life, that is self-realization, God realization. Understanding that it is more important to invest our time and energy in something that will give me permanent benefits rather than the temporary ones. So Krishna is saying there are two paths to attain perfection. One is this analytical study of the body and mind, trying to understand, cultivate knowledge. And one is karma yoga, the path of connecting with the Lord with our karma. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. So both are equally powerful. One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. So Krishna is saying, so it's not just that path of Sankhya Yoga, trying to sit and analyze and come to a certain conclusion that will lead you to the perfection of human life, but by engaging in devotional work will also help you achieve the same goal. And why is this devotional service recommended rather than sitting and trying to analyze this world and our own nature? Because we are all born with a particular nature and we are helplessly forced to work according to that nature. We can't sit artificially because it is premature to renounce things at this stage. So a person who is not ready for sannyas or renunciation yet, if he takes to it, after some times he will be forced to give it up. He will be forced to act according to his nature. He is not prepared. Therefore, he will be doing injustice to both the orders of life, sannyas, and of course the other order in which he was living in. Could be a brahmachari or a grihastha, a family man. So rather, the easier path is shown by Krishna through the Bhagavad Gita. Stay wherever you are. From there, you try to engage in my service, try to connect with me. That is the path of karma yoga, not giving up our karma, but utilizing the fruits of our karma, using our talents, expertise, time, energy, resources to serve God, to connect with God. That is the path. It's not a path of rejection, it is a path of connection. Text 6, Krishna says, Continuing on the same theme. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenadhikachati. Merely renouncing all activities and yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. We have to understand the goal of renunciation is so that we can disconnect ourselves from material work and eventually engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So simply renouncing will not help. Ultimately, we have to engage in the devotional service. So if that is the goal, why do you need to give up what you are doing? Why do you need to give up your family, your home? You simply, if the goal is devotional service, wherever you are, from there you can engage. And that way you can achieve perfection and peace as well, and happiness. Text 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. And what happens to such a person who engages in devotional work, in this consciousness, while working in this world, always being very alert to the ultimate goal of life, self-realization, God-realization, simultaneously fixing his consciousness on the Lord, utilizing the fruits of his actions in the service of the Lord. Such a person who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled, because he sees everyone on a spiritual platform, or from a spiritual platform, how everybody is a spiritual being belonging to the same family. And since he is not selfish, his desires are directed towards pleasing the Lord, so he doesn't discriminate, he doesn't engage in actions which are motivated by duality. He's my friend, he's my enemy, there is profit, loss. He remains equiposed. His mind and senses are always under control by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, and such a person then is never bound by the law of karma. Text 8 and 9 and 10. Neva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit Pashyan Shrinavan Sparshan Jigrahan Ashnan Gachan Swapan Shwasan Pralapan Visrijan Grahanan Unmishan Nimishan Napi Indriyan Indriyartheshu Vartanta Iti Dharayan. He continues on the same thing, how a person in such a consciousness who is working in devotion, a person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, that means working like any other ordinary human being, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all, because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. He is fully realized that he is a soul living within the body, and whatever work is being carried out, the senses and the body are engaged, and he has nothing to do with it, because he has a higher purpose. His purpose is spiritual, because he is spiritual. While we live in this world, we have been given this body, and related to this body, we have to perform certain prescribed duties, but they should be performed like we are doing the needful, remembering our original spiritual nature, that we are spiritual beings, parts and parcels of God. So without forgetting that, such a person will never get entangled, and he will be able to live like a lotus leaf, as Krishna talks about in the next verse. Brahmanya adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti lipite nasas papena padma patram ivambhasa. Beautiful analogy Krishna gives. Such a person can live like a lotus leaf, one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful actions, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. The lotus leaf is surrounded by water from all sides, but not even a single drop can stay on it. So we have to work in this world, we cannot avoid it, but we can definitely avoid the sinful reactions, the bondage of karma, by acting in divine consciousness. And so that we can remain untouched by the complexities of material life, the reactions to our actions, and we remain unaffected by or immune to the bondage which comes by engaging in actions which are devoid of God consciousness. Any action done minus God is going to produce some reaction and is going to cause further entanglement in material life, and then is going to lead to some future suffering. Even the so-called happiness that comes because of just being good, doing good work which is minus God, that's good work. Even that keeps us bound to the law of karma, to the cycle of birth and death. Liberation doesn't happen. The problems of birth, old age, disease, death, they continue. The problems caused by mind and body, problems caused by others, natural disasters, they all continue. We all have to face it. But a person who is in divine consciousness, is in union with the divine, is connected to the Lord, he is unaffected, like a lotus leaf is unaffected by water. Text 11 and 12. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. The yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses only for the purpose of purification. Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibaddhite. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the results of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his own labor, becomes entangled. Krishna summarizes that one who works for his own pleasure, like a selfish man, he gets entangled, but one who works, whose desires are in union with my desires, he becomes peaceful. And he achieves unadulterated peace, he says. Unadulterated. Naishtikam shantim apnoti naishtikam. So this is the summary of what Krishna has spoken till now, which he speaks in text number 12. I'll repeat the translation. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. So I'll just give a brief summary of what is being spoken in these 12 verses. Arjuna is still confused despite Krishna's explanations in chapter 3. Arjuna still considers work and renunciation to be mutually exclusive paths. Thus Krishna elaborates on how an individual who works in a spiritual consciousness is automatically elevated to the platform of renunciation. If one engages in righteous work, offering the results to God, and all the while keeping alert to the ultimate goal, then such work becomes worship. For most people, it would be premature and detrimental to sever themselves from worldly relationships and duties in pursuance of spiritual perfection, which is the goal of life, should never be forgotten. And therefore, the path of Karma Yoga offers a progressive means of spiritual development while simultaneously staying in the world. Just as a lotus leaf is surrounded by water but remains completely dry, one can stay in the world and still remain aloof from its influences by being in union with the divine, by being in union with the divine will, living our lives according to His will and not according to our own whims and fancies. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.